Okay, all right, let's just pick up where we left off. So, as we remember, simple squamous epithelium, simple meaning one single layer. Squamous meaning those longer than they are tall, and epithelium. So, like the description says, flat cells with the disc-shaped nuclei, and essentially their job is to allow for diffusion and filtration because, again, we have them in these really small single layer places where we can pass things like oxygen and other things. So you would think about where we might be able to find these types of cells, other places in the body. I'll give you a second to think about that. Pull in some places, maybe like the alveoli of the lungs, some places that do a lot of filtration, such as the kidney glomeruli. That's basically just a tube in your kidneys. In the lining of the heart, the blood, lymphatic vessels, and in some of those serosae. If you remember correctly, those serosae are linings of body parts, like your heart and your lungs. And your lungs, I tried to draw lungs, they're not very pretty, and your intestines. Okay? They kind of look like a fried egg. You've seen them on the microscope. We've run through all of this stuff, but their thinness allows for efficient exchange of nutrients and waste between the bloodstreams and the surrounding tissue. Okay? An example of said epithelial tissues. We'll just move through this real quick. Okay? So, simple cuboidal epithelium. Again, simple, one layer. Cuboidal, looks like a big old cube, and epithelium. They're very rarely, like, actually spherical, but their nucleus can look pretty spherical. Its main job is secretion and absorption. You'll find them, again, in the kidneys, in some of the glands, and around the ovary surface. They're mainly in the walls of the smallest ducts of glands, so they're still kind of rare. Well, you have glands all over your body, so blah, blah, blah. Okay? Again, some images of some simple cuboidal tissues. You guys have seen these in lab. Okay, simple columnar. So simple again, simple columnar. These are the tall guys. Some of them have cilia at their apical surface. Cilia are basically just like little hairs that help move things along. So you might see some of these columnar cells in your like in your trachea when you need to like clear your throat first thing in the morning. It's that cilia that's helping move all of that mucus up and out of your body. Okay? They usually line the digestive tubes straight from the stomach to the rectum, stem to stern. They're usually pretty active in moving molecules, but again, their main function is absorption and secretion. Okay? Yeah, like I said, kind of propelling mucus. The ciliated ones tend to like move molecules, move things. In some cases, they move your egg cells. Also called your ovum. Okay, so those non-ciliated forms, they're kind of in the digestive tract, like I was saying, in some of the ducts, less so in the ducts, but more so the digestive tract. And then the ciliated ones in the bronchi, that's to move that mucus. Doesn't want me to draw, sorry guys. Move that mucus. That was like move that bus stuff from like, I don't know, the early 2000s. You know what I'm talking about? I hope you do. Okay, anyways, sorry. So yeah, two major forms, the non-ciliated and the ciliated. The non-ciliated, you don't need all of that whip-like movement of the cilia in the digestive tract because you have your smooth muscle that does that peristalsis. The ciliated forms that move that mucus, you need that. Okay? Sorry if you just heard my phone go off. Again, example. A certain cell type that you might find within that simple columnar epithelium are goblet cells, and goblet cells produce mucus. Okay. Next on the list, pseudostratified columnar epithelium. This is where, again, those those Latin roots will really help you out. Pseudo means false. We know stratified means many layers. So we can assume that pseudostratified are not actually real stratified columnar epithelium. They're fake. They're fakers. Anyways, so all of their cells will originate at the basement membrane, but not all of their cells are as tall as each other. So it may look like, sorry, this drawing is not very good. But again, you don't need to be an artist to be a biologist. So not all of the cells will make it to the very top where that apical surface would be. But that does not mean that they are different layers. They all start with the same basement membrane. So our pseudostratified columnar epithelium, those guys are the fakers. Only the tall ones get to the apical surface. There can be goblet cells and have cilia, but these are the ones that are, in my opinion, some of the toughest to look at under the microscope. Okay. They do a lot of mucus secretion, propulsion of that mucus, especially by those ciliated ones. Those non-ciliated ones, you'll find them in the ducts of the reproductive tubes and in some large glands, but those ciliated ones are the more likely ones that you'll come across. Okay. You can see in this image here that this is our little basement membrane, and it kind of looks like some of these cells are getting to the top, but like not all of them. There's this one right here. There's this little guy over here. So it looks like there are many different cells and cell types. Looks like several layers, but they're not. They're liars. They're playing you. Okay? Stratified. We know that stratified means two or more. Simple is one. Stratified, more than one. I don't know if that's the greater than or the less than symbol. Greater than. Whatever. More than one. I hope you guys don't see all of the erasing and redrawing that I do. Let me know if you do. Cool. So, stratified epithelia, its main role is protection. So that top layer of your skin, that's a lot of stratified epithelium. Okay? Say they regenerate from below and push up. Remember how if you guys kind of remember from the last lecture that we had, I was telling you about your skin. Your skin is just lots and lots of dead layers of stratified epithelium that gets pushed up from the basement membrane and pushed up and up and up. So it gets away from that blood supply. They die off, but they still stay with you. Okay? They're named according to the shape of the cells at the apical layer. And if you remember correctly, the apical layer is the part that is open to the air, or open to something. Basal is bottom. Okay. So, stratified squamous epithelium is many layers of those egg-like cells. Some of the deeper layers can look like they're cuboidal or columnar, but for the most part, they usually won't. It's the thickest layer of epithelial tissue. They are best adapted for protection. What, Oliver? Sorry, my cat. It's supposed to say best, but it does not want me to say best. But you know that says best. Great. Cool. So, when you're learning kind of the basic locations of that stratified squamous epithelium, remember that this is the outermost layer of the skin. And pretty much anywhere that your skin goes that has an opening, at least to an extent, you will find stratified squamous epithelium. Okay? There are two main types, keratinized and non-keratinized. Keratin is a protein that helps to, it helps make things kind of waterproof. It helps to, do a little protection, stuff like that. Okay? So that keratinized epidermis, keratinized stratified squamous epithelium is mostly going to be the top layer of your skin. Provides that waterproofness that I was talking about, etc. Then non-keratinized forms most of the moist linings of your body. So you'll find some non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium, like around the cervix, in some of the mucosal membranes, and kind of here and there throughout the body. But when you think skin or anything like that, you're most likely going to be dealing with keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. Try saying that 5 times fast. Okay. So, protects, like I said, protects the underlying tissues from abrasion so that you don't, you scrape your elbow or you fall off a bike or something like that. You're not just straight digging into the muscle. You have that layer of epithelium to protect. So that keratinized forms your epidermis. That non-keratinized forms the lining of the mucosal membranes in all of these locations, etc. Okay? Quick check for you. Would this be keratinized or non-keratinized? Just a question. Maybe see if you can find that answer somewhere. Okay. Stratified cuboidal columnar, stratified cuboidal epithelium. Usually it's only about 2 layers. They do a little bit of protection. These are still relatively rare. You'll find them in some of the larger ducts or glands in your body. So like your sweat glands, your salivary glands, your mammary glands, here and there. These are a relatively rare cell type. Okay. Yeah, you don't see these in many places. Your salivary glands here and there. Stratified columnar epithelium. Also a rare tissue type. several layers long. They do a lot of protection and secretion. You'll find them in very small amounts in the male urethra and in some of those larger glands. Okay? And in this image, they kind of look like those cuboidal ones, but they're not. They are, and it's kind of just like the way that it is cut in this image that you really can't see how long these guys actually go, like, back into the page, if that makes sense. It's kind of hard to describe, but you can kind of see the top layer of those guys. Just imagine that this may be the top on this one, but it can go like kind of inwards. That's a bad description. Ask me about it if you have questions. Okay, I think that's the end of this presentation. Yeah, and I think the next thing that we're going to talk about are some of the glands that we deal with coming into the, like, because a lot of those glands are epithelial tissue. Yeah, nice.